over here in Amp Elmore. Amp has done so much to try to help promote Memphis and international trade with Africa, with Kenya in particular. We've worked with him and will continue to work with him with ambassadors and embassies in Washington trying to promote trade. It's a logical thing to do, and it's imperative that we have Memphis in the forefront to try to take this as an opportunity to promote Memphis and Africa, and that's what AMP can do.
As President Obama said, yes we can. All dreams start with an idea. While we in Memphis are over 8,000 miles away from Kenya, we are following Dr. King's goal to bring not only the African and African American family together. Since Africa around Kenya is the birth of humans, we bring humanity together. Our event in Orange Mound was an international event with guests from 5 African countries and Bermuda. The guest list was diverse of various social, educational, and cultural backgrounds here to follow Dr. King's dream. Some of you may ask the question, what is the Orange Mound to Africa initiative? Only if you understand the history and the significance of Orange Mound. It was on May 13th, 1959, where Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and the SCLC was hosting an African Freedom Dinner for the African named Tom Mboya. Dr. King said on this day, quote, "Our struggle is not an isolated struggle," King insisted. "We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality." And Orange Mound had built the first community in America for blacks by blacks. We in Orange Mound have a dream, and we have the audacity of hope. We in Orange Mound, who carry the history of building the first community for blacks by blacks, we build on the first community of humanity and the world via our picking up the gauntlet of Dr. King and taking that gauntlet to Africa. From Orange Mound, we have a dream. In 1953, an organization was formed in America called ACOA, or American Committee on Africa. The group's mission was to fight for the liberation of Africa. In 1956, ACOA sponsored a 26-year-old African to come from a place called British East Africa that later became known as Kenya. This young man's name was Tom Mboya. Tom Mboya is the most influential African to impact American culture, history, and politics than any African in history. Without an Mboya, there would never have been an Obama. The Orange Mound to Africa initiative notes Orange Mound as the first community in America to acknowledge the work of Tom Mboya and its significance and contribution to American culture, history, and politics. It was in 1959, whereas former First Lady Anna Ella Roosevelt, who was an American political figure, diplomat, and activist, who introduced singer Harry Belafonte and baseball great to the then 29-year-old African Tom Mboya. Tom Mboya had the dream of opening opportunity for Africans to travel to America to get an education. Singer Harry Belafonte, baseball great Jackie Robinson, and actor Sidney Poitier lent their names on a letter, whereas African Americans gave $1, $2, or whatever they had, so East Africans who could come to school to get an education from what is now known as Kenya. The program was called I Lift America, and one of the beneficiaries of the program was a 23-year-old African from Kigali, Kenya, by the name of Barack Obama Sr. It was in April of 1959, whereas Tom and Boyer not only marched with Dr. King, Tom and Boyer spoke at the King event as the Voice from Africa. It was on February 12, 1960, whereas then Senator John F. Kennedy said, quote, "Education is, in truth, the only key to genuine African independence and progress," unquote. History notes that in 1960, then Senator John F. Kennedy, a presidential candidate, recommended that the Kennedy Foundation donate $100,000 for airfare for the then East African students, now known as Kenyans, to go to school in America, and another $100,000 to support the Kenyan students while they are getting educated in America. The JFK Library and Museum states, quote, "Kennedy's decision to support the effort became an issue in the election and possibly a factor in its narrow victory," unquote. It is in Orange Mound, whereas we lift the torch of Dr. King and carry the torch to Africa and Kenya to ignite the spirit of Tom and Boyer, proposing the Tom and Boyer African and African American Museum, Educational and Cultural and Entertainment Center. It is from this location in Orange Mound where you find the birthplace of the African cultural diplomacy.